So some people like to accuse free grace people of teaching a license to sin. Well, it's simply not true because, and I can speak for most of my free grace brethren when I say this, we are people that stick closely to the book. And if it can't be backed up with scripture, then we don't build a theology around it. So to say that we teach a license to sin is kind of crazy because there's nowhere in the Bible that it teaches that you can just sin however you want to and you're okay and that all is well. You're still saved, but it doesn't mean all is well. There's consequences to all of our actions, both good and bad. So let me just focus on a couple of scriptures right here that teach us something very interesting. All right, let's take a look. It's in 1 Corinthians. I'm going to basically combine two scriptures, 1 Corinthians 6:12 and 1 Corinthians 10:23. What these two scriptures are addressing is when Paul is dealing with the Corinthians who are saying that all things are lawful to me. That's what they're saying to him. They're saying all things are lawful to me. And now that tells us something. It teaches us something very important. One is that they were hearing loud and clear the message that once you're saved, you're always saved, and you cannot become unsaved, and you can't misbehave your way out of God's grace. You can't out-sin God's grace. They were hearing that loud and clear. And of course, some of them misinterpret that to a license of sin. It's just simply not true. But they were hearing the message that once you're saved, always saved. That's what this tells you. But Paul tells them in return, in response to all things are lawful to me, he says, but not all things are helpful, and not all things edify. And he says, I will not be brought under the power of anything. And by saying that, he means anything other than Jesus Christ, of course. So let's take a close look and really think about what he's saying here. Yes, of course, once you're saved, you're always saved, and that you can't be unsaved. But you have to evaluate the actions that you do. Are you allowing something to gain power over your life? That's wrong. Is what you're doing helpful to you or others or to the kingdom? If not, then don't do it. Is what you're doing edifying yourself or someone else? Try to avoid those things that don't edify, that are not helpful, or divert you from living beneficial lives to the kingdom. Feel free to comment about this or discuss. And thank you for listening. Take care.